and welcome to another PVTV news show. I am Eric Weibrecht, and here joining me is Seth Martin. Italy is set to become the second European country to press supermarkets and other businesses to donate wasted food to groups that feed the hungry. The country almost recovers more than 600 million tons of unused food every year, but Italians still throw away $13 billion worth of food annually. Largely produced that has begun to age but is still edible. The new laws won't punish businesses for tossing out waste food, but instead offer rewards for donating. Grocery stores, bags, bars, and restaurants that have signed up for them given lower garbage collection fees in exchange for contributing to food pantries.
When Erica Lee's dog passed away, his death left a huge hole in the family. What Erica needed the most was some time off to help her little boy work through the grief of losing a best friend. Luckily, her Florida employer is one of a number of companies who now offer days off to those who lose their beloved pets. Many employers will quietly allow people to take vacation time or a personal day for such an occasion, but some actually make it a part of company policy. Kimpton Hotel, the largest chain of boutique hotels in the U.S., is one of those companies. His company has supported the special relationship humans have with their pets and allows managers to grant up to 3 days of paid to leave for the loss of an animal companion.
Nicole Sagabir missed the last train home after a night out in London, and the station was locked, so she couldn't stay inside until morning. That's when a homeless stranger showed up. He could see how upset she was and offered to help. The man, identified only as Mark, knew of an all-night coffee shop nearby. He led the 21-year-old to it, making sure that she didn't have to walk empty, dark streets alone. After leaving her in the safety of the shop, he left but promised to return in time to escort her back to the station of the first morning train. Mark showed up in the next morning, running down the street to catch up with Nicole because his bus had been late. She was stunned he'd gone to so much trouble to reach her. Nicole was so impressed with Mark that she set up a crowdfunding amount to get him off the streets and into a room.
When a classmate posted on social media calling her a fat whale, this brave teen turned the act of cyberbullying into an online effort to save real whales. Danny McMillan, who goes by D, discovered a Twitter account called D the Fat Whale, featuring a picture of her with a whale over her face. On the verge of tears, she reached out to her role model, the plus-size model Laura Lee. When D remarked that she should probably make a t-shirt to show that the bullies hadn't gotten to her, Laura cheered the idea as a way to turn the experience into something good. In a little over 2 weeks, Dee's raised more than $2,000 for Save the Whales, and the Twitter account mocking the teen had been taken down.
Dreams really do come true thanks to Adele. 12-year-old Emily Timian was carrying a sign at the famous pop singer's concert reading "It's my dream to sing along with Adele at the Manchester Arena in England." When the pop icon was ready to launch into her hit song "Someone Like You," she gave the young fan a chance and invited her on stage, not only for a sweet gesture but a mind-blowing performance. Emily had been diagnosed with ADHD and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3, according to the Manchester Evening News, which seemed to have been affected by the quality of the aspirin singer's incredible pipes.
Skittish mother dog's entire demeanor changed when a shelter worker stepped into her cage, bringing the one thing that could never be replaced, her 4 lost puppies. Cora, the canine, was surrendered by her owners to the Marin Humane Society on Saturday. A routine veterinary examination of Cora showed that she had recently birthed puppies, and since it isn't healthy for newborn puppies of that age to separate from their mother, a follow-up call to the previous owners convinced them to relinquish the puppies back to the shelter. Cora had been a nervous wreck at the shelter But when a worker stepped into her space and presented a golden pup from inside a carrier, and then another, and another, and another, her tail started wagging and never stopped. With all the babies accounted for, the mama pup can't wait to nurse her blood.
The blueberry, already known to be a superfruit for its power to potentially lower the risk of heart disease and cancer, also could be insurance for your brain against Alzheimer's disease. New research presented by the scientist Sunday bolsters the idea that the fruit loaded with helpful antioxidants could help prevent the devastating effects of this common form of dementia. Blueberries' beneficial effects could be due to flavonoids called anthocyanins, which have been shown to improve animals' congestion. Currently, 5.3 million people suffer from Alzheimer's disease.
On Nebraska high plains in the middle of a bitter Midwestern winter, you can still pick oranges, lemons, and grapefruit because the citrus grows in a geothermal greenhouse. The remarkable fact is, although he needed $22,000 to set up, it costs virtually nothing to keep heated throughout the winter because the warmth comes from the ground. Its creator, the fascinating Bruce Finch, says it is rare to see any successful year-round greenhouses in that part of the country because energy costs are just too high. His building design costs only $1 a day to operate.
And now to John for some interesting news on Thule monsters.
What do you get when you put the body of a cuttlefish, eyes of a hammerhead, nose of an elephant, and mouth that looks like a claw? Well, then you get the Tully monster. More and more information on this odd creature keeps coming out, and March 16th, scientists found they believed to have a vertebra. Being the first thought to be more of a slug or worm, is now being compared to modern-day fish and lamprey. Lamprey, which are a type of jawless fish that latch onto bigger fish and, like a vampire, sucks them for food. But even the lamprey compared to this creature is very odd. As researchers discover more fossils of this creepy sea creature, they find more odd things about it, which they have a lot to research considering they have over 1,200 specimens available.
John for that story. A newly discovered dinosaur from Uzbekistan helps explain how the Tyrannosaurus became the top predator 80 million years ago. Researchers said that they have found a specimen from a 20 million year old gap between the small marginal hunter and the apex predator. The Trimelia eretica, the new dinosaur fossil, is said to be between 90 to 92 million years old. Compared to the Cretaceous Tyrannosaurids, it is horse-sized. Because of the fossil, it shows how the Tyrannosaurs evolved from a smaller body size to the giants that we know and fantasize about today.
A team of Japanese scientists found bacteria that can eat the same type of plastic that is found in most water bottles. This discovery could lead new ways to manage the 50 million tons of this plastic produce globally each year. Polyethylene terephthalate, or PET for short, is the type of plastic that new species are able to digest. PET can not only be found in the water bottles, but can be found in polyester clothing, frozen dinner trays, and blister packaging. The study is impressive, but it is not clear if it would help keep plastic out of the ocean.
There are many heroes in animal rescue, and sometimes that hero can be another dog saving himself while saving another. A black lab puppy named Gunther came into Jacksonville Animal Care and Protective Services in bad shape. He was anemic from flea infestation and extremely weak. Shelter workers feared he wouldn't make it. He was in desperate need of a blood transfusion, and fortunately, after another young dog, a 1-year-old Chihuahua mix named Hua, was able to donate blood to help the pup. Soon after, Hua was adopted by Casey James and her 7-year-old daughter.
A polio infection left Zhao DeLong unable to walk as a child, and his father became a full-time caretaker for a little boy. Years of treatment got Zhao back on his feet, but as his own condition improved, his father declined. Contracting an unidentified illness The elder man himself was left paralyzed. When it came time for Zhao to go off to college, he just couldn't leave his father behind in the care of others. Instead, he moved his dad into dormitory room at the university at Laoang, so he could be the caregiver for his paralyzed parents. His father became his college roommate with Zhao, cooking his meals, helping with physical therapy, and even shaving his face between classes. To bring some cash for the two of them, Zhao has also dedicated hours for a part-time job.
The force is strong between Luke and his Labrador Jedi, so strong enough to have saved the boy's life last week, when the 7-year-old's blood sugar level dropped alarmingly low during the sleep. His diabetes-sniffing dog leapt into action and into Luke's parents' bed to alert them of the danger. When Luke's mother, Dory Natel, had put him into bed March 3rd, she'd gotten a safe 100 milligram reading on his glucose level, but when she checked again after Jedi's warning, it had dropped to the life-threatening level of 57, 13 points below the lowest acceptable level for someone with diabetes. Because of Jedi, Luke's life was saved.
With new rule in the allowing physically disabled high school athletes in Missouri to compete with their classmates on school teams, District 32 is poised to make history. Faith Noel, a sophomore at Perryville High School, will be the first wheelchair athlete in Southeast Missouri to compete on the school track team. Faith, who has spina bifida and walks with braces, was fitted with a racing wheelchair, which will race on the track alongside all the others racing. She won't be racing them. She will be competing against her own time. They will log her events and times, and she will be competing against para-athletes in the state. Thank you. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. This is Seth Martin.
And this is Eric Weibrecht.
Signing off.